Welcome back to the Daily Economy 24/7. Today, we continue our journey into the automation age with part 2 of our 3-part series, The Displacement Wave. If you're new to the channel, welcome to a community that values clarity, depth, and honest conversation about the world we're living in. And if you've been with us for a while, thank you for being part of this growing family. Your support, your comments, your insights, they're the heartbeat of this show. In part 1, we uncovered how AI quietly seeped into the workplace, reshaping tasks and workflows without most people even noticing. But today, we step into the human side of that shift. The part where the numbers turn into names. The part where the charts turn into choices. The part where the future of work becomes personal. This episode is about the men living through the change, the ones adapting, the ones struggling, the ones rising, and the ones redefining what it means to work in an age of intelligent machines. So settle in. Take a breath. And let's step deeper into the automation age together. This is the Displacement Wave, the second chapter of our series. And it's not just about jobs disappearing. It's about jobs evolving, merging, fragmenting, and entirely new roles being born in the shadow of automation. It's about the emotional, economic, and human impact of a world where AI doesn't just assist. It competes. The first signs of this wave didn't come from headlines or dramatic announcements. They came from the data, quiet, consistent signals that something deeper was happening beneath the surface. By 2025, more than a third of companies reported reducing headcount because of automation. Nearly half of workers said AI had significantly changed their job. Over a quarter said they were doing fewer tasks than before. More than half of companies said AI adoption was accelerating faster than expected. And almost 60% of workers feared their job would be automated within the next decade. But the most telling number came from a global workforce study. Only 14% of workers felt fully prepared for the changes AI was bringing. That means 86% felt unprepared, uncertain, or overwhelmed. The displacement wave didn't begin with layoffs. It began with a feeling, a quiet sense that the ground was shifting. The first wave of displacement hit the roles most exposed to automation, the jobs where AI could already perform the majority of core tasks with high accuracy. Administrative and clerical workers were among the first to feel the shift. AI could schedule meetings, draft emails, summarize documents, generate reports, manage calendars, route workflows, handle customer inquiries, and process forms. Analysts estimated that nearly half of all administrative tasks could be automated by 2026. The jobs didn't vanish overnight, but the nature of those jobs changed dramatically. Customer support roles followed. AI systems began handling the majority of first contact interactions, billing questions, account issues, basic troubleshooting. Human agents like Daniel, who had worked in customer support for 7 years, found themselves dealing only with the escalations. He used to take 40 calls a day. Now he took 12, but every one of them was a crisis. He told me, "Before, I solved problems. Now I solve emergencies." His job didn't disappear. It became heavier. Data entry roles were next. AI excelled at extracting information, validating fields, matching records, cleaning data, and detecting anomalies. These jobs were among the most automatable in the entire economy. Basic accounting and bookkeeping followed, as AI learned to categorize transactions, reconcile accounts, generate summaries, detect irregularities, and prepare draft statements. Accountants weren't disappearing, but the entry-level pipeline was shrinking. Retail workers felt the shift too. Self-checkout systems, automated kiosks, and AI-driven inventory tools reduced the need for cashiers, stock clerks, and front-of-house staff. Retail wasn't dying, but it was being redesigned. The second wave of displacement was more complex and more emotionally challenging. These were the jobs that weren't disappearing but were being fundamentally rewritten. Analysts in finance, marketing, and business intelligence found that AI now performed the first pass on almost everything: trend detection, anomaly identification, forecasting, report drafting. Analysts like Jordan, who joined a finance team right out of college, expected to spend his early years building models. Instead, AI built them, and he edited. He told me, "I feel like I skipped the part where you learn the craft." His job didn't disappear. It became compressed. Teachers experienced a similar shift. AI generated lesson plans, graded assignments, personalized learning paths, and identified student weaknesses. Teachers like Mr. Alvarez found themselves spending less time grading and more time talking to students. "It's exhausting," he said, "but meaningful." His job didn't disappear. It became more human. Healthcare professionals saw AI assisting with diagnostics, imaging analysis, patient notes, and treatment suggestions. Doctors and nurses became interpreters, communicators, and decision makers. Managers and team leads found AI tracking performance, identifying bottlenecks, suggesting priorities, and monitoring workflows. Their jobs shifted from task assignment to coaching, conflict resolution, and culture building. But the third wave of the displacement story is the one people often overlook: the wave of jobs being born. AI supervisors and quality controllers emerged, overseeing AI outputs, correcting errors, refining prompts, ensuring compliance, and monitoring accuracy. Prompt engineers and workflow designers appeared, creating automation pipelines and optimizing system performance. Human-AI collaboration specialists became essential, helping teams integrate AI into their workflows. AI ethics and governance professionals rose in importance, ensuring fairness, preventing bias, and protecting privacy. And as machines took over tasks, humans took over empathy, negotiation, leadership, creativity, and relationship building. These roles became more valuable, not less. Behind all the data were real people. Daniel, the customer support agent, now spent his days handling emotionally charged calls. Jordan, the junior analyst, felt like he had skipped the apprenticeship phase of his career. Mr. Alvarez, the teacher, found himself more connected to his students than ever, but also more drained. Their jobs didn't vanish. They transformed. The psychology of displacement is complex. Workers feel uncertainty, fear, loss of identity, pressure to adapt, anxiety about relevance, and confusion about the future. But they also feel curiosity, excitement, relief, and opportunity. The displacement wave is not a single emotion. It's a spectrum, and everyone moves through it differently. The economic forces driving this wave are clear. Air became cheaper, the cost of running models dropped by more than 70% in 5 years. Labor costs rose. Productivity pressure intensified. Competition accelerated. Talent shortages grew. This isn't a moral shift. It's an economic one. And this is only the beginning. In Section 2, we go deeper into the emotional fallout, the identity crisis, the generational divide, the rise of hybrid workers, the new hierarchy of skills, and the quiet reshaping of the social contract. This is where the story becomes personal. This is where the wave hits the shore. The displacement wave doesn't hit everyone the same way. It doesn't arrive like a storm that sweeps across the entire landscape at once. It arrives unevenly, in pockets, in industries, in generations, in personalities. And the emotional fallout is as varied as the people experiencing it. Some men feel it as a quiet anxiety. Others feel it as a loss of identity. Some feel it as a challenge. Others feel it as a threat. But everyone feels something. This is the part of the story where the numbers become human. Let's begin with the emotional reality of displacement, the part that doesn't show up in charts or workforce reports. Take a man like Anthony. He's in his mid-40s, a mid-level operations manager at a logistics company. He's been with the company for nearly 2 decades. He's seen it grow, shrink, reorganize, expand, and reinvent itself. He's weathered recessions, leadership changes, and industry shifts. But nothing prepared him for the quiet pressure of AI. For years, Anthony's value came from knowing the system, the routes, the bottlenecks, the personalities, the patterns. He could walk into the warehouse, glance at the loading schedule, and know instantly where the problems were. It was instinct. Experience. A kind of internal compass. Then the company rolled out an AI logistics platform. It analyzed routes, predicted delays, optimized loads, and flagged inefficiencies. Suddenly, the system Anthony had mastered was being mastered by something else. He didn't lose his job. But he lost the part of his job that made him feel irreplaceable. He told me, "I used to be the guy who knew everything. Now I'm the guy who checks what the system already knows." That's the emotional fallout of displacement. Not unemployment, but unmooring. Identity is one of the most powerful forces in the workplace. Men often tie their sense of worth to what they do, to their craft, their expertise, their reliability, their ability to solve problems. When AI begins to take over the tasks that once defined them, something subtle happens. They begin to question themselves. You see it in men like David, a senior accountant who spent years perfecting the art of financial reconciliation. He used to take pride in catching errors others missed, in spotting patterns that didn't add up. Now AI catches those errors before he even sees the file. He told me, "I'm still here. But the part of me that felt like a craftsman, that part is fading." Or consider someone like Malik, a customer service supervisor. He used to train new agents, teach them how to handle difficult calls, show them how to de-escalate tense situations. Now AI handles most of the simple calls, and the new agents only deal with the hardest ones. Malik's role shifted from teacher to crisis manager. He said, "I used to build people up. Now I just help them survive the day." This is the identity crisis of the automation age. Not the loss of employment, but the loss of meaning. The displacement wave also reveals a generational divide, not in capability, but in mindset. Younger workers, like 26-year-old Ethan, grew up with technology woven into every part of their lives. For them, AI isn't a threat. It's a tool. Ethan uses AI to draft emails, analyze data, generate ideas, and automate tasks. He sees it as an extension of himself, a multiplier. He told me, "Why would I do something manually if the system can do it faster? My job is to think, not to type." But older workers, like 52-year-old Carlos, see things differently. Carlos built his career on reliability, consistency, and mastery of process. He's proud of the fact that he can do things without shortcuts. He trusts his experience more than any algorithm. He said, "I don't want a machine doing my thinking for me. I want to know the work is done right because I did it." Neither man is wrong. They're simply standing on different sides of the same wave. The younger generation sees AI as a ladder. The older generation sees it as a shadow. And companies are caught in the middle, trying to bridge a divide that isn't just technical, it's cultural. As the displacement wave spreads, a new kind of worker emerges, the hybrid worker. This is the man who doesn't fight the AI, and doesn't surrender to it either. He learns to work with it, to guide it, to shape it. He becomes part craftsman, part conductor, part collaborator. Take someone like Julian, a mid-career marketing strategist. He doesn't write every piece of copy himself anymore. He uses AI to generate drafts, explore variations, test angles. But he doesn't let the AI dictate the message. He uses it as a creative partner, a spark, not a replacement. He told me, AI gives me 20 ideas in 10 seconds. My job is to find the one that matters. Or consider someone like Samir, a project manager. He uses AI to track tasks, predict delays, and identify risks. But he still leads the team. He still motivates people. He still resolves conflicts. The AI handles the logistics. Samir handles the humans. He said, "The system tells me what might go wrong. I decide what to do about it." Hybrid workers aren't defined by what they do. They're defined by how they think. They're adaptable. They're curious. They're unthreatened by change. They're willing to learn. They're willing to unlearn. And in the automation age, they become the backbone of the workforce. As AI takes over more tasks, the hierarchy of skills begins to shift. Technical skills still matter. But they're no longer the only currency. In fact, they're no longer the most valuable currency. What rises to the top are the skills AI can't replicate, the deeply human ones. Men who can communicate clearly, lead teams, build trust, resolve conflict, think strategically, and navigate ambiguity rise in value. Men who can interpret AI outputs, question assumptions, and make judgment calls become indispensable. The workplace begins to reward not just knowledge, but wisdom. Not just efficiency, but empathy. Not just execution, but interpretation. This is the quiet reordering of the modern workforce, a shift from doing to deciding, from tasks to thinking, from repetition to relationship. Every wave has winners and losers. But in the automation age, the lines aren't drawn by education, income, or industry. They're drawn by adaptability. The men who thrive are the ones who lean into change, who see AI as a partner rather than a rival, who are willing to evolve their identity as the world evolves around them. The men who struggle are the ones who cling to the old definitions of value, who measure themselves by tasks rather than outcomes, who resist the shift because it threatens the story they've always told themselves about who they are. But here's the truth: no one is doomed. No one is locked out. No one is beyond adaptation. The displacement wave doesn't choose winners. People do. As AI spreads, something deeper begins to shift, the unwritten agreement between workers and employers. For decades, the social contract was simple: you bring your skills. We bring the work. You do the tasks. We pay you for the tasks. But now the tasks are changing. The work is changing. The skills are changing. And the contract must change too. Companies begin to value adaptability over tenure. Workers begin to value meaning over routine. The workplace becomes less about what you know and more about how quickly you can learn. This is the quiet reshaping of the modern economy, not through policy, but through practice. We've explored the emotional fallout, the identity crisis, the generational divide, the rise of hybrid workers, the new hierarchy of skills, and the shifting social contract. But in Section 3, we go even deeper. We explore the long-term consequences of displacement, the economic ripple effects, the psychological scars, the communities reshaped by automation, the industries transformed beyond recognition, and the question at the heart of the entire series: what does it mean to be human in a world where machines can do so much? Section 3 is where the story reaches its emotional peak, and where the future of work becomes unmistakably clear. The displacement wave doesn't end with the workplace. It doesn't stop at the office door or the factory gate. It ripples outward, into families, communities, industries, and entire regions. It reshapes not just what men do for a living, but how they see themselves, how they plan their futures, how they define success, and how they navigate a world that feels like it's changing faster than they can keep up. This final section is where the wave becomes unmistakably real. When a man's work changes, his life changes. Not always dramatically, not always visibly, but deeply. Take someone like Robert. He's 51, a warehouse supervisor in a mid-sized distribution center. For years, he took pride in knowing every inch of the floor, every pallet, every aisle, every forklift route. He could sense when something was off before anyone else noticed. It was instinct, built over decades. Then the company installed an AI-driven inventory system. It tracked every item, predicted shortages, optimized storage layouts, and flagged inefficiencies. Suddenly, the instincts Robert had spent a lifetime developing were no longer the primary source of truth. The system was. He didn't lose his job. But he lost the feeling that his experience was the anchor of the operation. He told me, "I used to walk the floor and feel like I was reading a book I'd memorized. Now it feels like the book is being rewritten while I'm reading it." That's the long shadow of displacement, not unemployment, but uncertainty. Not a pink slip, but a quiet erosion of confidence. The displacement wave doesn't hit every community equally. Some towns feel it like a tremor. Others feel it like an earthquake. In manufacturing towns across the Midwest, men like Thomas, a machinist for 23 years, watched as AI-assisted robotics took over tasks that once required precision hands and years of training. The machines didn't replace him outright. They simply changed the nature of the work. Instead of shaping metal, he monitored dashboards. Instead of adjusting tools, he adjusted parameters. He said, "I used to feel the work in my hands. Now I feel it in my eyes." In coastal tech hubs, the shift feels different. Younger workers adapt quickly. They see AI as a natural extension of their workflow. But even there, the pressure is real. The competition is relentless. The pace is unforgiving. The expectation to constantly learn, evolve, and reinvent yourself becomes a way of life. In rural areas, the wave arrives slower, but when it hits hard. Jobs that once anchored small towns begin to thin out. Administrative roles, clerical work, customer service positions, the kinds of jobs that kept local economies stable, begin to shift toward automation. Communities don't collapse. But they change. They tighten. They stretch. They adapt. The displacement wave is not just a workplace story. It's a cultural one. Some industries don't just evolve under the pressure of AI, they transform completely. In transportation, autonomous routing systems and predictive logistics reshape how goods move across the country. Dispatchers like Miguel, who once coordinated fleets with a mix of intuition and experience, now oversee systems that make decisions faster than any human could. Miguel still matters, but the system leads. In finance, AI-driven risk models, automated compliance tools, and real-time analytics redefine the role of analysts and advisors. Men like Stephen, who built careers on understanding markets, now spend more time interpreting machine-generated insights than generating their own. In media and marketing, AI tools generate drafts, analyze trends, and test variations at a scale no human team could match. Creatives like Andre become curators, editors, and strategists, guiding the machine rather than competing with it. In construction, AI-powered planning tools predict delays, optimize materials, and simulate outcomes. Foremen like Luis find themselves balancing hands-on leadership with digital oversight. In every industry, the pattern is the same: AI doesn't eliminate the human role. It reshapes it. There's a part of the displacement wave that rarely gets discussed: the psychological scars it leaves behind. Men who once felt confident now feel uncertain. Men who once felt essential now feel peripheral. Men who once felt ahead now feel behind. It's not that they can't adapt. It's that the pace of change feels relentless. One man described it to me like this: it's like running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. You're not falling. But you're not in control either. Another said, I'm not afraid of losing my job. I'm afraid of losing who I am. These aren't dramatic statements. They're honest ones. The displacement wave doesn't just challenge skills. It challenges identity. It challenges pride. It challenges the stories men tell themselves about their place in the world. And yet, beneath the fear, there is something else, something quieter, but powerful. A sense of possibility. For every man who feels overwhelmed by the displacement wave, there is another who rises with it. Take someone like Adrian, a mid-career IT technician. When AI tools began automating parts of his job, system checks, diagnostics, routine fixes, he didn't resist. He leaned in. He learned how the tools worked. He learned how to guide them, correct them, improve them. He told me, AI didn't take my job. It took the boring parts of my job. Or consider someone like Marcus, a former customer service agent who transitioned into an AI quality supervisor. He now reviews AI interactions, corrects errors, and trains the system to respond more accurately. He didn't lose his role. He evolved into a new one. These men aren't superhuman. They're not geniuses. They're not outliers. They're simply willing to adapt. Willing to learn. Willing to let go of the old story and write a new one. The displacement wave doesn't just create pressure. It creates opportunity, for those who are ready to step into it. As the displacement wave settles, a new landscape begins to emerge. Work becomes less about repetition and more about interpretation. Less about tasks and more about judgment. Less about following instructions and more about shaping outcomes. The men who thrive in this new world are not the ones who know the most. They're the ones who learn the fastest. The men who succeed are not the ones who cling to the past. They're the ones who build a bridge to the future. The future of work is not a battlefield between humans and machines. It's a partnership, a collaboration, a merging of strengths. AI brings speed, scale, and precision. Humans bring wisdom, empathy, and meaning. Together, they create something neither could create alone. As we reach the end of part 2, we arrive at the question that sits beneath the entire series, the question every man must eventually face: what does it mean to be human in a world where machines can do so much? It's not a question of survival. It's a question of identity. A question of purpose. A question of value. And it's a question we'll explore fully in part 3, the final chapter of the automation age. Part 1 showed us how AI quietly took over the workplace. Part 2 revealed the human impact of that shift, the displacement, the transformation, the rebirth. But Part 3 is where we look forward. Where we explore the new social contract. Where we redefine the meaning of work. Where we imagine a future where humans and AI don't compete, they collaborate. Part 3 is where the story becomes not just analytical, but hopeful. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Part 2 of the automation age took us into the heart of the displacement wave, the emotional fallout, the identity shifts, the generational divide, the rise of hybrid workers, and the quiet reshaping of the social contract. But this story isn't over. In Part 3, we explore the future, the new social contract, the skills that will define the next decade, the roles humans will play in an AI-driven world, and the deeper question at the center of everything: what does it mean to be human when machines can do so much? If today's episode resonated with you, make sure you follow the show, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and jump into the comments to tell me what stood out. Your voice shapes where we go next. This is the Daily Economy 24/7, and the automation age continues with Part 3. You won't want to miss it.